Good morning, Abhay. Good morning, good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining the session, and we'll begin shortly. Thank you very much. Good evening, Abhay. Good morning, Ronak. Good evening, Rakesh. Good evening, Krati. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining the session, and we'll begin shortly. Good morning, Mashu. Good evening, Mukti. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining the session, and we'll give a couple of minutes to the people to join the session, and then we will start the class. So a couple of minutes, and then we'll start the session. Thank you, everyone. Thirty more seconds, and then we will start the class. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining the class. Meanwhile, people are joining in all that. Any questions anybody has? So we can start with the questions. So any question, if anyone has, you can use chat box. Okay, so no question. So let us recap what we did in the last class. So the last class we focused. Yes, sir, I have a question. Yes, please go ahead. Good evening, Manjul. Okay. Pick and pack production manager. So yes, that is true. The reason for that is because you cannot talk about every topic though, because you just can't go to every page. So you talk about things and then you have a page and people can go through it. Otherwise, this will take very, very long time. You got my point? So people can go through it, people can read it. If they have a question, they can ask me, but then they can, so it's like a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, So we take 4 steps. Then after 4 steps, we take 4 steps together. Then there's step number 5, step number 6, step number 7, step number 8, step number 10. So there are many, many steps, right? You cannot go through all these steps. Good evening, Gaurav. So go through it, and you're right actually, and go through everything. And if you face any questions, you can call me, and I will be more than happy to answer. Yeah, that is true. Because when we learn, in the learning involved 10 steps, then people, once they have a basic understanding of the transactions, then we need to take it from there, develop further. Good morning, Gagan. Good morning, Gagan. Good morning to everyone. Okay. So today, what we discussed in the last class. In the last class, we talked about production. Now in the production also, there are so many things. So you can also not go through everything, because then this course will never finish. That's the problem. This will take maybe another many months. So we have to be reasonable. So here we can create a bomb in SAP. So we did that. We created finished goods. That was one of the examples of the finished good which we did. We created white wooden cabinet. We created raw material. Okay. Then I also talked about raw material. In the raw material, I created multiple raw material, wooden plates and hinge and white paint and handle and all that. So you can have all these different raw materials. So in SAP, BOM is a master data. We created a BOM. Okay. So we have a SAP BOM, and we created a bill of material also in SAP. We also create a production order. We also release a production order as well. We purchase raw material. Then we also do the good issue for the components. So we did. Basically, this was end-to-end production cycle. We did end-to-end production cycle in which we created finished good, we created raw material, we talk about the resources also. We included resources in our BOM as well. And then with the BOM, we also created a production order. And with the production order, we also issue the production order. And then we provide the end-to-end production life cycle. So that is what we have done in the last class. How many classes will be there to complete this batch? I'm targeting to finish this class this week. My target is to finish my class this week. Hopefully, maybe some class left, then maybe next week. So I am targeting to finish this class in this week. That is my target. But it may take a little bit more, whatever it is. If it takes more, it takes more. But I'm targeting to finish this class in the current week. So that is my goal. But I'm sure, something will left and all that. So then if it is the case, then because after this we have there's another PDF. We have another PDF which is on accounting. So far we are only doing logistics. Okay. So, but the thing is, in this PDF for the accounting, so we have a whole accounting part is left. So we have a logistic PDF. So the logistic PDF will be finished today. Then accounting PDF will be remaining. The good news is that in the PDF though, if you see the PDF, 287 pages. So it's relatively shorter PDF. So that way, that should not take that much of time to finish it. But whatever is finished. Now, one thing which I will say, learning process. One thing which is very important for us to understand, the learning process is a continuous process. Continuous process. It keeps going. So I can only cover foundations of SAP Business. Although I'm using, if you see that I'm using SAP Business certification training material, I'm using SAP Business certification material and the latest version, which is 10.0. You see here that all the PDF which I'm covering, this is own SAP's material. This is SAP's own certification material. And we are talking about version 10.0. So which version we are learning? We are learning version 10.0. Version 10.0 is the latest version. So version 10.0 is the latest version, and that is the version we are learning, 10.0. So that basically means if you do SAP Business certification only certification from SAP, only for certificate, not training, only for certification, SAP will charge approx 50K, including tax and all that. If you go and write an exam with SAP of B1 only, they will charge with taxes and all that 50,000. So this is a very important point to understand that what we are learning. We have learned, but as I mentioned, the continuous process, you have to practice and read many times. There are many more things. There are many more explorations. There are many more versions. There are many more business processes and scenarios. So it's a continuous process, never-ending saga. Can we give SAP exam after this training? If you know, yes. If you know whatever it is, then you can write an SAP exam. This is SAP certification material. This is SAP certification material. This is SAP certification material. So anybody can write an exam. If SAP allow, SAP is also very restricted who they allow to write an exam also. What is the fee for it? You are not paying attention, I guess. You're not seeing what I'm typing. You're not paying attention, Shivam, right? What I wrote here. What I wrote. What fees I wrote here, Shivam Chauhan? HR Central. What is HR Central employee? You guys come in the class and you don't even pay attention what is in writing on the paper. Very strange. When you're in the class, at least pay attention. Understand the value of this class. Somebody teaching you SAP Business 10.0. It's not a joke. Nobody will do it. Nobody will give for free. Only certification people charge you 50,000. I write down here and people don't even read it. Very disappointing. Okay. So let's continue with something called customer service process. So be focused, be serious. Sometimes what happens is one of the problems with giving a class for free is that people become non-serious. Because when you're going to spend 1 lakh out of the pocket, then you will be very serious. I'm paying 1 lakh, so people will be very serious and they will come to class and read and all that. But if you get everything for free, then people become very non-serious because there's no value. It's for free. Okay, customer service process. So now, what is the customer service process? So customer service process basically means when you sold the product and after selling the product, we can have after sales service process. Yeah. So which basically means there is something called equipment card. Equipment card. If we come back here, we're going to talk about this. We have it here. There is equipment card. Okay. This is equipment card. So that is what we see here. Equipment card. You can also have something called service contract. So there in SAP, there is something called service contract. Okay. Okay. So there is a service contract. And how do you attach your items to a service contract? There is something called service call. How do you manage the service call? So here we have a service call. So there is a service call. Okay. Okay. So we have service call. So we have service call. So this is a business scenario. So what is the business scenario? The business scenario is, so customer calls, they have a problem. So there is a customer and customer reports a problem. Then when customer calls and they have a problem, then the service rep opens a service call. So they create a service call where you can record the problem. You can check the warranty and contract coverage. Okay. So then we can have, if service rep is not able to solve the problem, they can forward to someone else. Somebody else can do it. So that way you can go through the entire end-to-end customer service cycle. Once the problem is solved, service call is closed. And if we need to bill the customer, we can bill the customer. So this is the whole scenario. So for example, let us say you are in the business and you're selling, laptop. If you're selling a laptop, many times along with this laptop, you also say, 1 year and 2 year of warranty. If people call and they, oh, there is a problem in this laptop, then you create a service call, you fix it, and send it back to the customer. And if something is not part of the responsibility, then you charge for it. So that is a typical example, which is what you can do in the SAP system. So these are different business scenarios. In order to do the service, you can also have a service tools. Yeah. So service tool is basically the tools which you will be using to do any kind of service and repair function, right? So that is called service tool. So then we're going to use the service card for recording a service history. Then we do service and the warranty template. We're going to talk about, but bottom line is you can also maintain the service tools also, because many times we will also be maintaining service tools as well. Then there is something called equipment card. Now, let us say I want to create a product. Now see here, look at my screen. So I go to inventory. I go to inventory data. I select the finished good, for example. And let us say I have a product FG11, and then I have a product called AC system. Yeah? So I have an AC which I'm selling to the customers. When you're selling the AC, here we can also have a serial number associated to it. So you can have a serial number. So you can put this field, serial number. So that is the serial number. Then you can have a warranty template. So if you have a service attribute, you can have a warranty. And if you see that here, there's a bronze, golden, silver. Now, what is the difference between them? We'll talk about that as well. So let's say golden warranty. Because this is my company is in business of selling ACs. Yeah, and AC has a warranty. A lot of these electronic goods and components have some kind of warranty actually. Yeah. So we go back here. We say the base unit measure each. We sell the sales unit measure each. We sell the inventory unit measure, which is called each. Then we go to inventory data, and we can select the inventory data, MRP, and all that. And then we add it. So what we did, we created a finished good. So we created finished good, and that finished good is FG11, and that is called AC system. Example, we create AC system. Now let us say before you can sell, you have to have it, right? So you have to have a stock. So I don't have a stock. So if I go back here, I go to the material in FG11, and if I see here, if I check the stock, I don't have any stock. Everything is blank. So I don't have any stock at all. So then we can basically see that nothing is there. If you don't have a stock, you can't sell it. So let us create a stock first. So let's purchase some AC systems so we can sell them. And if you are a manufacturing company, you can also manufacture them also, like the way we did last time. So we went to the whole manufacturing cycle in which we created manufacturing BOM and raw material and routings and production order confirmation issues. We go through the whole manufacturing. Same way we can do manufacturing also, because we may be a company which is manufacturing, or we could be a company which is buying the product. So let's say we are buying product. So we select purchasing. We go to purchase order. We select the vendor. And we select any other vendor which we've been using all along, right? So in that, what we okay. So here we select that item SG11, and let us say I'm buying 1 piece or 10 piece, and this is I purchased for for 10,000. We add it. We create a purchase order. Then we do a good receipt. So this is a good receipt we're gonna do. It's a regular good receipt which we have done many times. Nothing different, nothing unique about it. Now here, if I want to do any kind of a serial number, so I can put a serial number here, FG11, and we add it. So operation completed successfully. So we have created good receipt immediately. If I want to see the stock, in the stock now we have 1 piece. Okay, so now because we have a stock, we can sell it. If we don't have a stock, obviously you cannot sell. So this whole purchasing we did basically to create a stock. So we need to create a stock, and when we create a stock, then we can create PO, and then we create good receipt, and then we verify the stock. So now we have a stock. Okay. Now we want to create a sales order. I want to create sales process. Okay. So we're going to do sales process. Now here we have something called create sales order. Okay, create sales order. Then we create delivery, and then we create customer invoicing. Okay, that is what we're going to do. We're going to do sales cycle. Okay. Wonderful. Scroll down the page. Scroll down. Where should I scroll down, sir? Right. Okay. So we create a customer invoicing. Doc file. Which is the doc file? This file. Okay. So now there is no doc file here. Either I have a PDF or I have a OneNote. There is no doc file. So now we go to sales order. So we go to sales order. here where you're writing, there is not a doc file, there is one note. Okay, you can make a note. That is not doc file. That is the one note. Okay. So can we move now, or you are still writing? Okay. So we create a sales order. In sales order, we use microchips. We use item. We enter the delivery date. We enter the selling price. And then we add. We create a sales order. Now from the sales order, now I want to copy that sales order into delivery. It's a regular delivery which you have created many times, nothing different. Add and view. So here we have a serial number SLFG11. We select serial number. This is my serial number SL-FG11. For AC system, that is the serial number I'm issuing to this customer. I update, we add, and we add. So that is what we have done. Okay. The operation completed successfully. Then we create a delivery. Then we go to air invoice. This is my customer invoice. I use tax code. I put tax. And then I add. So now what we did? So we create a sales order, we create delivery, and then we create air invoice. This is a serial number transaction report. You want to seek the inventory. If I check the inventory, nothing there in the inventory now. We close the inventory. So now we go to service. And we go to service contract. Now we see here, this is a service contract which got created automatically and for this item. So what happened is with this invoicing, service contract get created automatically. Okay. So this is the service contract got created automatically. If I go to equipment card, and there's equipment card, the same item FG11, customer microchips. So now we have also have the equipment card got created automatically. We can create manually also. So when we do the invoicing, these two things happen. So system knows this is a service item, repair item. And then we can create a service contract. And then we can have a equipment card. Okay. That is what we see here. That when we create an AR invoice, equipment card get created automatically. What we have in equipment card. So this is the equipment card. Then the equipment card is like a job card. It's like a install base card. So what we have here. So we have serial number, item number, AC system. This is the customer, contact person, address. All that information is there automatically. So that is how we have the equipment card. Then we have a service contract. So now, if we see this equipment card, and then this is the service contract. The service contract created on today's date, 10/11, and by default, it goes for 3 years. So 10/19/20 till 10/19/23. So it is for 3 years. So this agreement is for 3 years. Now, it could be 3 year, 2 year, it is defined in the configuration, but by default, it is 3 years. That is what we have, service contract and the warranties. Then we have 3 type of contract and template. So you can create for serial number, for customer, and for item group. So the contract could be of 3 types. For service on item with a serial number for which an equipment card exists. So there could be serial numbers. If you see that here in our service contract, you will also have information related to customer, which is the item, what is the serial number. Because same item can have multiple serial numbers. Okay? That is what you see here. You can also create contract for item groups also. So here, rather than if you see here, you can select it for, you have item, you can also enter item groups as well. Create for item groups also. There is something called service level agreement. So we see that here, the service level agreement. In service level agreement or SLAs in the contract. So here we have something called template. So there's a warranty, and there are 3 choices. Either the business partner, item group, a serial labor. There's a template called golden warranty. Then we have a coverage. Now this is what we have. This is the coverage, response time, resolution time, available hours, whether part, label, travel is covered or not. We see here. So here in this example, in the coverage, we say Monday to Sunday is covered 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. In this, the travel is included, labor is included, travel is included, holidays are included. If I go here, rather than golden warranty, if I choose some different warranty, let's say I select the bronze warranty. Now, this silver and bronze and all that is an example. You can have whatever you want. And if you go to coverage here, then we have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. This does not include Saturday, Sunday. It includes part, it includes labor, it includes travel. So you can choose. So that is part of coverage. Response time, resolution time. Now, if you say there is a response time, there is a resolution time. If you choose the bronze warranty, my response time is 8 hours, resolution time is 4 hours. If I select my golden warranty, then my response time is 1 hour, resolution time is 1 hour. If I select my silver warranty, then my response time is 4 hours and resolution time is 2 hours, 2 days. So my response time and available time, so where there is a response time, there is a resolution time. There is a response time, there is a resolution time. There is a coverage. This is the coverage. That is what we see here. Automatic creation of the contract and the equipment card. So equipment card and service contract can be created automatically. That is what we have done so far. There is automatic creation of the contract and equipment card. So here we have air invoice, and then system automatically create a service contract, and service automatically create an equipment card. And this is what happened in our case. System behind the scene automatically created this. You can also link equipment card to the business partners. We go back here. If you look at the equipment card, in the equipment card, we have business partner information. This is a business partner information. You can choose. This is the service process. So we have a service contract. Then we can create a service call. We can do the response profile. We can do service response. So here, we also have something called service call. And you see that here, there is a create service call. I can create service call. Customer calls me, say, okay, this is the problem, and I want you to create a service. Service call means when customer calls and there is a problem. This is my customer, and I can ask what is the issue, which is a serial number, etc. We can choose the item. So here we can have different items also. We can choose item as well. We select FG11. So this is my item. I can select my serial number. Select my serial number. Now this is when customer calls me and they said they have a problem. What is the origin? He called me telephone. AC has problem. priority, high, medium, low. Here we have a problem type. What is the problem? The problem is the cable issue. Customer basically made a phone call. Here, what is the information? What is the address? Who's the contact person? We can put a remark. Customers AC is not working. They have issue in cable. They have issue in cable. If you want to do any kind of activity, what kind of a solution? So if you want to add any solution here, any related document, the resolution, our engineer visited and changed the cable. We add it. So this is the service call we have created. Now in this service call, you can enter a lot of other data, remarks, if you want to do some kind of activity. So in activity, if you want to do a meeting, you want to make a customer site visit, because engineer has to go to site inspection. You can do a site visit, and this activity will go to that person, and that person, whomsoever that person is assigned to, handled by Dilip Sadh. In this handled by Dilip Sadh, you can assign anybody else. By default is Dilip Sadh. If I have some different engineer, Gyan Prakash, I assign to Gyan Prakash. Okay, I assign to Gyan Prakash. And solution, what solution we have recommended? We can recommend some solution. In solution we recommended, we change the battery. The problem in the battery. We can create a new solution also. See that here? In the recommendation, you can find different solutions. You can create a new solution. This is called solution knowledge database. We told them that this cable is coming because there's some problem with the battery, whatever they have. Any related document type, resolution. In history, it finds service call created on this date, this time by this user, activity added. There's a rescheduling here. In the rescheduling, if I wanted to add somebody, so handled by, I give it to someone else, Gyan Prakash will go, and how many time he required and all that, you can capture all this time, how many hours he required, what was the location, business partner address. And then after that, if you want to add, so Gyan Prakash couldn't do it, then we have a different person, Bhaskar has to go. And then he visits Bhaskar. So you can assign, because there might be multiple people which could be involved, and they will be assigned. So this is called basically scheduling. And then we add it. So we have a service call, and in the service call we can do service scheduling. So service call, service response, service resolution. The service call, so the very first thing which you do a service call, we see here, there is a service call. And that is what you see, a service call. Service call is the document which you create when customer calls if they have a problem. This is the first document which you added here, that is called service call. Then there is a service response. Service response basically means what we did here. We put somebody, who will be calling, who is engineer. We can define the handled by, who will be handling it and assign to the, Gyan Prakash. what kind of remarks, what activity he's going to do, and what is the resolution, what is the history, who is scheduling me, the work is scheduling. Somebody will go and fix it. The service response. Somebody has to go and fix it and correct it. Then in the last, there's a resolution. So we can put a resolution to it. So now when you come back here, then here you will see that then service call is status. You can do open, close, pending. So when it is closed, we can say it is closed. It is open, then we say it is open because it is open so far. But once it is done, then we say, okay, this service call is closed. We are done with it. So this is a service call. So we can have equipment card, and then your serial number, and then we can have a service call, and the service call can be referenced to a contract. So here, it is also referenced to a contract as well. So because we have a service contract, we go back here, we close it. This is a service contract. The service contract also, and we can create this service call with a service contract as well. Now, if you see here, if this is a service contract, and because I created a service call number 51 on today's date, is 10/11, then this service call get automatically updated here. So we know that how many service calls has happened with this contract. This was not there before, so the service call get updated here automatically. So there is a service call number, and this service call number 51, and the service call number 51 in service contract get updated today's date 10/11. Okay. Then these are the different activities you can define in remark, activity, solution, related document, resolution, history, scheduling. If you go back here in the service call, that is what we see: a general business partner information, any remark, any activity, or any solution. You can create any solution, any related document if you want to create a document, what resolution we have given, what is history. These are the different histories. So we have assigned from Dilip Sadh to Gyan Prakash. Because Dilip Sadh couldn't fix it, we give it to Gyan Prakash. That is what we see here in the schedule. There is a queue also. Many times we can do QA, QB. So if you see here, you can define queues. Queues basically means if a so we can have queues. Queues means when phone comes up, it goes into queue. So there is a queue here. We can have a service called queue. Then we can have a service response. Service response, we talk about this response profile. We talked about Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. What is the time? What is the period? We can define all of that. That is service response. We talk about solution knowledge database. That is what we see here. There is a solution. You see that here? In the solution, if I click on new, it goes to the solution knowledge database. Means you can create the list of resolutions for a problem. Because if certain problems are coming recurring basis, you can set up the system that you know what to fix it. Any engineer know that, okay, if this is coming, we change battery. If this is coming, then we change cable. If this is coming, then we change the casing. If this is coming, then we do this. So that is why we have solution knowledge database. So from the database, we have updated change battery. When we have this electrical switching, the solution for that is change battery. So there is search you can add, and you can put into service call. That is what we see here. In service call, we have the solution, it is recommend, you can also create new. The recommend basically means system check that if there is a problem, for this problem, what is the recommended solution? That is coming out of something called solution knowledge base. Then we can also do scheduling of technician visits. So there's a scheduling tab here. This is scheduling tab here. You can assign the people. First, you go to Gyan Prakash, go to Bhaskara, start date, end time, duration, how many. You can track that also, because many times you like to track when engineer went on it, how many days, hours, minutes he took. That is what is a technician scheduling visits. And then in the last, we resolve it. Issue fix, and we resolve. When it is resolved, then what we do? The call status becomes closed. The close basically means now this ticket has been closed and we are good. Okay. So that is where we can have a closing issue here. Service resolution. You can also have a certain related document. Okay. Now, what is the related document basically means? So let's say if somebody has visited, if you see here there's AR invoice, there's a delivery and all that. Many times what happens is when person is gone, there might be some expenses, there may be some bill, there may be certain items. So we need to bill the customer. So that is where if you go to related document here, in the related document, we can basically create a new document here. You know, we can go back and we can create a new document if we want. So let's say I want to create a AR invoice because I have to bill the customer for this item, and there might be some travel expenses. I need some spare part, you know, because when we go, everything is for free, but not everything is free. Certain things we will be charging. So what we did, so in this service call, I added a customer invoice. So this customer invoice has been added to this because I need to charge the customer. So this service call also have a AR invoice now. That is what we see here. Because certain things we will be charging, we will be billing the customer. And then this is the exercise which we did where we can choose document type, that could be order, could be expense, we may be charging customer, and that is called service resolution related document details. Reporting. There are several reports here. So if you go back here, if I close this, if I close this, close this, close this. There are several service reports here. You see that? There are service reports. So you can see service call in the queue, response time, average time. There is a service monitor here, which is very useful report. You see that here, it keep moving. You see this closely. So this is my open service call. This is my overdue service call. And system knows, okay, there are total of 7 open calls. And overdue is a several service calls, which is overdue. So the manager could be responsible in checking, what's going on. Why these calls are not closed. Why we have all these issues. So here, we have total number of open calls. We go to the details also. We can say, okay, these are the 7. So these are all different calls, which is open. In the customer, you see the name of the customers, code, item code, and all that. These are all different open service calls. You can also see how many are due. These are all different due service calls, which has not yet been some bucked on. These are due from 2018. So somebody sleeping on it. You can see that entire service calls, and there's so many reports, but this is like a dynamic report where this whole monitor goes, and it keeps refreshing automatically every second, because in the real world, a lot of customer calling, many service calls coming, going out, getting closed and updated. So this is getting updated in the real time. This is called service monitor. Okay. Handled by manager. And you can also see handled by which person. You can put the name of the person as well. And for that person, who is handling it? You can give the number of people, you can see by queue, by the priority. All these different reports which are there in SAP system. Setting for the service. So for configuration for the configuration to work, there is some configuration here as a part of system in Unity, and you have to enable something called automatic creation of the equipment card. So in my case, when you create a customer invoice, equipment card gets created automatically. So how come the equipment card got created automatically? Because of there is a setting here which enables, if this setting is there in the configuration, then system will automatically create a service equipment card and also will create automatically a service contract. We go back here. Now, where is this configuration? We go to administration, we go to system initialization, we go to general setting, then we go to inventory, and then here, if you see that here, we can trigger automatic creation of my, see that here, auto create equipment card. Then system creator equipment card automatically, as it happened in my case. Print preferences. So you will see here print preferences for certain calls. Print preferences. So in SAP you can print anything. So not only this. If you see here, any document you can print. Like for example, you want to print the customer invoice, vendor, delivery, sales order, purchase order. Any document you want to print, you can print it. So any document, for example, you want to say purchase order, because you send this purchase order to the system, and here we have something called preview. And this is a print. You can print also. If you go to preview, it will give you preview. If it's going to print in the current format, this is how it's going to print. This is the purchase order print. You can also define from here, if you go print preview, so here you can choose different layouts as well. You can have multiple layouts also. Not only purchase order, same thing. For example, let's say I want to print customer order. You can define these layouts. All these different layouts you can define. You can define the layout. You can define format. You see the preview here. This is how this invoice is going to print here. You can define all these print layouts, and most customers will do that. That's what we have print preferences. So you can do a service call we talked about, you can print and all that. Summary 2020 SAP affiliate all right result. Okay. So this is the end of this PDF. As I mentioned to you that we have another PDF which we're gonna talk about. So that is the accounting PDF. So we have two major PDFs, and one of them is basically related to 1000, the TV 1000, which you just finished, and then another one is related to we're closing this window, saving file. The next PDF is TV 1100. So we've done one PDF, we're going to do second PDF and the last PDF. The good news is this PDF is only 287 pages. Last PDF has more than 600 pages, and this PDF is 287 pages. Both of them is 900 pages, and then this is around 300 pages. The good news is a lot of things which are there in accounting we have also discussed before, like in sales cycle and purchasing cycle and production cycle and inventory, good receipt and good issue. We saw a lot of those journal entries and all that already. We talk about the inventory valuation and all that already. So the good news is a lot of stuff which you're going to talk in accounting, not everything, but a lot of stuff with the integration points and journal entries and the different sales cycle, purchase cycle, inventory, good movements and all that we have discussed. So that will be helpful. So that will also help us in moving quickly in a faster way. Okay. So with that, so this is a good breaking point. So first of all, thank you. And I will talk to you tomorrow. And thank you very much. Take care. Okay. Bye.